The owners of a card shop who repeatedly refused to close during the COVID lockdowns over the last 18 months have been fined in court by more than £35,000. The owners of Grace Cards and Books in Droitwich in Worcestershire argued that their shop qualified for an exemption from closure because they didn't just sell cards, they sold essentials like soft drinks and sweets. And of course, we know that newsagents that sold food were, of course, allowed to stay open. So during those rules, if you sold essential goods and provided services, you were allowed to stay open. Well, a district judge, though, said the owner's reasoning was a fig leaf. The owners are Alistair and Lydia Walker-Cox. They've been ordered to pay fines totalling £35,000 after being found guilty at Kidderminster Magistrates Court. Well, I'm delighted to say that Lydia Walker-Cox joins me right now. Good morning to you, Lydia.
Hi, Julia. Lovely to speak to you.
Lovely to speak to you. Frankly, you're a hero. You're an absolute hero. I remember just being, particularly because there's a local card shop in my local high street, and I'm very friendly with the owner of that shop, and seeing him a few times when he was just in sort of moving stock and things, utterly heartbroken at his shop having to be closed when you could go into the local supermarkets and you could buy, of course, you could no problem at all buying a card there. They were considered essential enough to be sold in supermarkets, but not essential enough at a card store, him having to lose his livelihood and possibly his business long term. And you face the same thing. What made you and your husband decide, no, we're going to stand up to this. We are going to stay open?
Yeah. I mean, 2 points really. The overriding thing is that you can, if this is all about a pandemic, then, the big stores, you can go and meander around and sort of, pause and lots of people crowding into it. The smaller shops are more specific. You go in, you know what you're looking for, you get what you want and you get out.
Yeah, but there's simply no difference. I thought it was extraordinary that you could go and buy your latte. You go buy your soy latte in a coffee shop. That's considered a necessity, but apparently a card shop not. We're actually playing some footage. If people are watching on Talk Radio TV right now, we're playing some footage of the police sort of breaking into your store to issue you with the order for you to close. Were you, when you decided to open, did you expect the police would get involved? Did you think we may end up in court, but to hell with it, we're going to do it anyway? Or did you think that, well, no one will notice and it'll be fine?
No, I mean, we kind of knew because we're in a town centre situation, and there's a manager of the town centre. So yeah, we knew that we would be under the spotlight and that we would have to deal with authorities. For sure, yeah. I mean, the other main point is that, I mean, our business is 30 years old and we've always sold food and we've always sold newspapers. Now, they are specific. So we have a significant sugarcraft section that we sell marzipan and icing and edible flowers. It's specific, I know. I mean, this came up in the case the other day. What was homed in on was as if the type of food that we sold wasn't eligible, and that the amount that we're selling isn't eligible, but that isn't detailed in the guidelines,
exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's edible, it's edible. That was people could be done on a technicality. They could also get off on a technicality. What was the reaction of your customers? Because I've got to say, if my local card store had been open, I'd have been in there every single week buying stuff.
Yeah, we've had an enormous amount of support from local people. I mean, we've had a few haters, obviously, you always do, and you always have the keyboard warriors, but we don't really take any notice of those. But generally speaking, our bread and butter customers have been so supportive. I mean, even sort of coming up to the trial we've just had, people asking about how are we and how is it going and what's the likelihood of success and all, every day. And we've got a whole mass of emails now to go through sort of as a result of this. So, yeah, we feel supported, but there's been a bit of well, we're still in shock from Tuesday, really.
I bet you are. Are you going to appeal? I mean, £35,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, I think we possibly will appeal because I just feel it wasn't a fair trial. If you based everything on putting a question on what kind of food we sold and how much of it, well, that's not detailed. The guidelines are vague, never mind the whole issue of whether or not we were more of a health hazard than the big stores.
Yeah.
That's.
Or indeed someone ordering a card online from somewhere that was working. I mean, do they think it's elves who are putting the cards into the envelopes? It's quite bizarre, isn't it? Look, I imagine an awful lot of my listeners would be cheering you on and would probably like to help contribute to help pay that fine. I know you're not allowed to crowdfund to help pay a fine, but I'm sure if you can leave my producers with some details, people to get in touch. I'm sure some people, and I am among those who would like to help contribute to that, because I think you're an absolute hero. This isn't about endorsing someone breaking the law. This is about someone doing something perfectly sensible, being allowed to open your business when you're no risk to anybody, and being allowed to, and you believe you were within the law, and I believe you were as well. I think it is a fundamental right. I think you're an absolute hero, and I think we need a bit more of that backbone from an awful lot more people in this country.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we were accused on Tuesday of doing this for monetary gain, which is laughable, really. This is our sole income. We're a family business. Our shop is small. We're not a chain. We just, our heart of hearts is that we want to keep our shop open. Yeah. We would have been closed for 26 weeks, and people form new habits. They go elsewhere. They start, buying everything they used to buy from you on the internet, which is happening. We were thinking of the long term. I mean, my husband works 6 days a week to keep the business alive. It's not like we were trying to make a fast buck or anything.
No, I mean, since when is it a crime to try and put food on the table and pay your mortgage? Lydia, honestly, I'm sure everyone is cheering you on listening. Lydia Walker-Cox, co-owner of Grace Cards and Books in Droitwich. And again, if you want to go in and buy some of their cards, and indeed some marzipan, some icing, I'm sure you'd be very, very welcome indeed. Thank you very much, Lydia.